Everybody hates. Chris made us laugh at the struggle. But 21 years later, the real life of this cast is a brutal plot twist Hollywood tried to hide. From stars living on the streets to icons lost to tragic heart attacks, the transformation of these actors is absolutely bone-chilling. This is the side of the show you were never supposed to see. Ricky Harris as Malvo. Malvo, the neighborhood's most feared ex-con whose mere presence sent Chris into a panic, was portrayed by Ricky Harris. He took the role at age 43, and it was the perfect choice. His gravelly voice and sharp features made Malvo both terrifying and hilariously relatable. Born October 5, 1962, in Long Beach, California, Ricky grew up in a rugged environment. He was a pioneer of the 90s hip-hop comedy scene, but his career was a constant uphill battle. He faced significant financial instability throughout his life, often having to take minor roles just to keep his health insurance active while dealing with mounting medical issues. Tragically, after years of struggling with the physical toll of a demanding career and the stress of financial instability, his health began to fail. He suffered a warning heart attack but continued to work, driven by the need to provide and a passion for the craft. On December 26, 2016, at the age of 54, the man who brought Malvo to life passed away from another, more severe heart attack in Los Angeles. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $500,000. In 2026, he is remembered by the cast and fans not for the wealth he accumulated, but for the indelible mark he left on the culture. He is survived by his 2 daughters, who continue to honor his legacy today. Terry Crews as Julius Rock. Terry Crews brought a legendary energy to the role of Julius, the world's most frugal father, starting when he was 37 years old. His performance provided the realistic anchor for the series, representing the quiet sacrifices and hard work required to keep a family afloat in a tough neighborhood. Born July 30, 1968, in Flint, Michigan, Terry channeled the grit of his upbringing into Julius. But the muscles and comedic timing he displayed on screen were actually serving as a shield for a dark domestic reality. He was fighting the ghosts of a childhood where he watched his father, Terry Crews Sr., violently abuse his mother, Patricia. This deep-seated trauma eventually boiled over into a severe, decade-long addiction to pornography that nearly incinerated his marriage to Rebecca King Crews around 2010, leading to a temporary separation that devastated their 5 children. Today, at 58 years old, he currently stands as a titan of the entertainment world, hosting America's Got Talent and overseeing a fortune of $25 million. However, his real wealth lies in his healed relationships with his 5 children and his wife, Rebecca. This chapter of his life is marked by an undeniable joy. He has moved past the trauma of his scandals and the darkness of his past addictions. He spends his days as a mentor and a beacon of hope, proving that a man can completely reinvent himself and find genuine happiness even after facing his most shameful demons in the public eye. Kevontay Jackson as Jerome. The neighborhood hustler, who was always asking for $1, Jerome, was played by Kevontay Jackson, who was 22 years old when he first appeared in the series. Jerome was the quintessential Brooklyn street character, adding a layer of local flavor and humor to every scene he graced. Born February 26, 1983 in Los Angeles, California, Kevontay's journey was nearly cut short in 2012 by a horrific car accident that left him with severe back and leg injuries. The 8-month rehabilitation process was a dark time as he faced the possibility of never walking or performing again, a crisis that forced him to reevaluate his entire life and career path while he was at his most vulnerable. Now 43 years old in 2026, Kevontay has successfully transitioned from the screen to the studio, holding a net worth of $500,000. He has shifted his focus almost entirely to music production and songwriting, having worked with major artists and contributing to television soundtracks. In 2026, he is enjoying a quieter, behind-the-scenes role that allows him to focus on his health after the lingering effects of his accident. He is currently in a very positive space, often sharing his story of recovery as a wake-up call to appreciate life's smaller moments. He remains a beloved figure among the cast, standing today as a man who turned a physical tragedy into a brand new creative beginning. Tyler James Williams as Chris Rock. The lead role of Chris, the kid constantly dodging bad luck in Brooklyn, fell onto the shoulders of Tyler James Williams when he was just 13 years old. As the show's central pillar, he had to carry the emotional weight and social commentary of every episode. Born October 9, 1992, in Westchester County, New York, Tyler's childhood was effectively traded for a grueling 14-hour workday, 5 days a week, for 4 straight years. The extreme pressure to deliver 20-page monologues flawlessly meant he had zero time for a private life, leading to a state of chronic exhaustion and social isolation that his father, Leroy Williams, often worried would break him. This professional grind robbed him of his teenage years, leaving him with a deep sense of loneliness and a feeling that he was a product of the industry rather than a person. In 2026, at 34 years old, Tyler has transformed that early isolation into a seasoned, quiet strength. His journey hasn't been without its physical tolls, especially in 2017 when a devastating Crohn's disease diagnosis forced him into emergency surgeries and a grueling fight for his life. He has mastered the art of managing this chronic condition through a disciplined lifestyle, allowing his career to reach new heights with Abbott Elementary. With a $5 million net worth and a Golden Globe under his belt, he has finally found the personal stability that eluded him as a child star. While he remains unmarried, Tyler is currently at a point of profound contentment, having evolved from the kid everyone hates into one of the most respected actors in television today. Chris Rock as the narrator. The soul of the show was the voice of the real Chris Rock, who served as the narrator and creator, bringing his own childhood memories to life starting at the age of 40. His sharp, cynical commentary acted as the bridge between the 1980s setting and the modern audience, turning his personal pain into a universal comedy. Born February 7, 1965, in Andrews, South Carolina, Chris grew up in a household where humor was a survival tactic against the harsh reality of being bused to a nearly all-white school. However, his massive professional success hit a crumbling personal life. His 20-year marriage to Malak Compton Rock ended in a devastating 2016 divorce following his public admissions of infidelity and a soul-crushing addiction to pornography. By 2026, he is 61 years old and currently holds a staggering $60 million net worth. But his most significant update involves his health and mental clarity. After being diagnosed with a nonverbal learning disorder, NVLD, in 2020, Chris has spent the last few years recalibrating how he communicates with the world, finally understanding why he struggled with social cues for decades. He is still focusing heavily on directing and producing, using his selective outrage era to speak his truth more clearly than ever. He is currently navigating a quieter, more reflective chapter of his life, proving that even a global icon can still learn and grow well into his 60s. Tichina Arnold as Rochelle Rock. Rochelle was the undisputed queen of the Rock House, and Tichina Arnold took on that fiery, unforgettable persona at 36 years old. Serving as the family's disciplinarian, she was the fierce backbone who kept her children on the right path through a mix of tough love and sharp wit. Born June 28, 1969, in Queens, New York, her personal reality was a nightmare of betrayal. She endured 2 painful public divorces, most notably from Rico Hines after a sex tape involving him and another woman surfaced. and lived through the hidden trauma of domestic abuse that left her emotionally shattered. This was all happening while she masked the physical agony of lupus, an autoimmune disease that turned every 12-hour day on set into a brutal test of her survival. Fast forward to 2026, at 57 years old, Tichina is the definition of a Hollywood survivor who refuses to break. She remains a constant, vibrant presence on the sitcom The Neighborhood and has secured a solid $2 million net worth through her decades of hard work. Even as she continues to battle the daily flare-ups of her illness, she has reached a place of profound inner independence, choosing to find fulfillment in her daughter's growth rather than another turbulent relationship. She is currently using her platform to lead a lupus foundation, turning her own physical pain into a roadmap for others. Tichina has officially entered a chapter where she no longer has to hide her scars, standing tall as a legend who is finally enjoying the respect and peace she deserves. Imani Hakim as Tonya Rock. Tonya was the little sister who knew exactly how to push Chris's buttons, and Imani Hakim took on that role at just 12 years old. Playing the household's favorite tattletale, she acted as the primary catalyst for family drama, often getting Chris in trouble with her clever manipulation. Born August 12, 1993 in Cleveland, Ohio, Imani saw this role as a literal lifeline. Her family had fallen on such hard times that she and her father, many times, were living out of their car while they arrived in Los Angeles. The psychological trauma of not knowing where her next meal would come from, or where she would sleep, fueled a performance that came from a place of pure survival. As a child, she felt the crushing weight of being the family's sole breadwinner, carrying a level of financial responsibility that no 12-year-old should ever have to bear. By 2026, she was 33 years old. The story had come full circle from struggle to total stability. She is currently a standout star in the hit series Mythic Quest and has built a comfortable $1 million net worth, finally silencing the old fears of falling back into poverty. The most significant shift in her life occurred with the birth of her first child in 2025, a milestone that she credits with finally grounding her soul. She is spending this year balancing her thriving career with the joys of motherhood, focusing on breaking the cycle of trauma she grew up with. Imani is currently in a state of immense gratitude, looking back at the girl who once slept in a car and realizing she has finally secured the safe, loving home she always dreamed of. Tequan Richmond as Drew Rock. The role of Drew, the perfect younger brother who had all the luck and all the girls, was played by Tequan Richmond starting when he was 13 years old. As the neighborhood heartbreaker, he provided the crucial comedic contrast to Chris, highlighting the unfairness of life through his effortless charm. Born October 30th, 1992 in Burlington, North Carolina, Tequan found that the luck of his character was often a confusing contrast to a life spent constantly uprooted. The intense pressure from agents and the industry to maintain his heartthrob image resulted in a profound identity crisis, as he felt forced to suppress his real personality to fit a commercial mold. This nomadic lifestyle made it difficult for him to form grounded, long-term connections, leading to a lingering sense of displacement and clinical depression that haunted him throughout his early 20s. Now, Tequan, 34 years old, and has purposefully stepped away from the flashy Hollywood machine to find a path that actually feels real. He has reinvented himself as an independent musician under the name T-Rich, a creative outlet that allows him to process the frustrations of a life lived under a microscope. While his $500,000 net worth is modest compared to some, his current level of happiness is at an all-time high because he is finally calling the shots. He has spent the last few years focusing on studio work and smaller acting projects that don't force him to play the pretty boy persona. He is living a quiet, intentional life in 2026, finally enjoying the freedom to be himself without the weight of an industry's expectations hanging over his head. Vincent Martella as Greg Wooliger. The role of Greg, the nerdy, loyal, and only white friend Chris had at Corleone Junior High, was played by Vincent Martella, who joined the cast when he was just 13 years old. As the show's comedic sidekick, Greg provided a safe haven for Chris, offering quirky advice that usually made things worse, but always came from a place of genuine friendship. Born October 15, 1992, in Rochester, New York, Vincent's early success as a child star was shadowed by an intense, private anxiety about being typecast forever as the geeky kid. This fear drove him to work obsessively, often sacrificing his social life and mental well-being to ensure he remained relevant in a cutthroat industry that often forgets its young stars the moment they hit puberty. Today, Vincent was a 34-year-old veteran of the booth and the screen, and has found his most enduring success as the voice of Phineas Flynn from Phineas and Ferb. This voice-acting career has been a literal lifesaver, allowing him to amass a $3 million net worth while staying out of the toxic tabloid cycle that swallowed many of his peers. In recent years, he has embraced a more adventurous lifestyle, traveling extensively and connecting with a massive global fan base, particularly in Brazil, where he became a viral sensation. He enters 2026 feeling more confident than ever, having finally moved past his child star insecurities to embrace a career that is as versatile as it is stable. Travis Flory as Joey Caruso. The neighborhood bully everyone loved to hate, Joey Caruso, was played with terrifyingly good comedic timing by Travis Flory, who was 13 years old when he began terrorizing Chris on screen. As the primary antagonist at school, Caruso represented the daily fear and racial tension Chris faced, making him a crucial, if hated, part of the show's DNA. Born May 24, 1992 in Fontana, California, Travis found that his incredible performance as a bully became a double-edged sword. He faced intense typecasting as he grew up, with casting directors only seeing him as the mean kid, which led to a series of professional rejections that triggered a long battle with depression and a loss of passion for the craft. Now 34 years old in 2026, Travis has chosen a path of total privacy, effectively stepping away from the Hollywood spotlight to find peace. With an estimated net worth of $300,000, he has shifted his focus toward a quiet life in his hometown, far removed from the red carpets and industry pressure. He has spent the last few years focusing on personal healing and staying off social media, a move that he credits with saving his mental health. While he may not be on our screens in 2026, those close to him say he is finally happy, having realized that he doesn't need to be a famous actor to lead a meaningful and fulfilled life. Jacqueline Mazarella as Ms. Morello. Ms. Morello, the well-meaning but hopelessly biased teacher, was brought to life by Jacqueline Mazarella, who was 37 years old when she started the role. Her character provided a sharp satirical look at white guilt and racial stereotypes, making her one of the most memorable recurring figures in the series. Born June 11, 1968 in New Jersey, Jacqueline's life took a dramatic turn long before Hollywood called. She was a witness to the 9/11 attacks in New York City, an event that left her with lasting PTSD. This trauma stayed with her for years, influencing her perspective on life and making her more determined to find deeper meaning in her creative work, rather than just chasing fame. In 2026, at the age of 58, Jacqueline is thriving as both an actress and a creator, with a net worth of approximately $500,000. She has spent the recent years developing her own projects, including the acclaimed series The Oversharing Mom, proving that she has far more to offer than just the comedic timing of Ms. Morello. She is currently living a very balanced life, prioritizing her mental health and using her experiences with PTSD to advocate for trauma survivors in the arts. In 2026, she is in a place of great creative freedom, finally enjoying the respect of her peers as a versatile storyteller who survived both real-world tragedy and the fickleness of Hollywood. Ernest Thomas as Mr. Omar. In the quirky ecosystem of the Rock family's apartment building, Mr. Omar was the eccentric, funeral-loving neighbor known for his dramatic catchphrase, "Tragic, simply tragic." Ernest Thomas took on this role at age 56, providing a surreal layer of comedy to the show as the man who lived above Chris. Born March 26, 1949, in Gary, Indiana, Ernest's real path to the screen was fueled by a hunger to escape extreme poverty, a struggle that saw him working multiple grueling jobs just to afford acting classes. His father's early death left him with a deep sense of responsibility, but his professional polish hid a lifelong physical battle, amblyopia, or lazy eye, a condition that made him the target of harsh industry scrutiny and nearly cost him several major roles early in his career. Now 77 years old in 2026, Ernest remains a symbol of old-school Hollywood resilience. Despite his fame, he never married, choosing a solitary life dedicated to his craft and his faith after a series of personal heartbreaks in his younger years. His journey has been one of quiet endurance, maintaining a net worth of $500,000 while dealing with the natural decline of his vision and the isolation that often comes with being a veteran actor in a fast-paced digital age. He continues to engage with fans at conventions, proving that the man who made tragedy funny has a life story defined by an unbreakable spirit. In 2026, he is reportedly working on a memoir to finally tell the full story of his journey from Gary to the bright lights of Broadway and Hollywood. Jacqueline as Vanessa. Jacqueline entered the series as Vanessa, the loud, stylish, and fiercely opinionated boutique owner who served as a vibrant foil to Rochelle's intensity. A legend of the sitcom genre, Jackie brought a seasoned comedic energy to the show, acting as a bridge between the 1980s golden age of black television and a new generation. Born August 14, 1956, in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, she was already a trailblazer as the first black woman to win an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy. Yet behind her booming laugh and sharp wit lay the immense pressure of being a first, often battling industry typecasting and a relentless demand from producers to maintain a caricature-like persona that she often felt limited her true dramatic range. By 2026, at age 70, Jacqueline has cemented her status as a cultural icon with a net worth of $6 million. While her career remains vibrant, transitioning seamlessly into the world of soap operas like Days of Our Lives, her personal life in 2026 is defined by the peace she found after the high-octane drama of early fame. She has used her platform to speak candidly about the lack of diversity in Hollywood's past, turning her personal frustrations into a legacy of mentorship for young black actresses. Today, she is more than just a comedian. She is the auntie of the industry, thriving in an era that finally recognizes the depth of the trail she blazed. She is currently enjoying a happy, semi-retired lifestyle while still making guest appearances that remind everyone why she is a television queen. Tisha Campbell as Peaches. Tisha Campbell's portrayal of Peaches, the chaotic, unpredictable mother of Tasha, was an absolute scene-stealer during her brief but memorable stint. A superstar from hits like Martin and My Wife and Kids, Tisha brought a heavy-hitting star power to the series at age 40. Born October 13, 1968, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, her life has been a high-stakes drama that frequently mirrored the intensity of the characters she played. For years, she was a symbol of black excellence, but behind the scenes, she was entangled in a grueling 20-year marriage to Dwayne Martin that would eventually culminate in a very public and financially devastating divorce in 2020. She has been open about the fact that she was left with almost nothing in her bank account after the split, forcing her to rebuild her life from the ground up at an age when most are looking toward retirement. In 2026, at 57 years old, Tisha is the definition of a comeback queen. After the split, she was candid about her journey of starting over, both emotionally and financially, which moved her story from heartbreak to the triumph of self-discovery. With a net worth now stabilized between $500,000 and $1 million, she has become a beacon of hope for women navigating midlife reinvention. Whether she is hosting talk shows or appearing in new series, Tisha in 2026 is no longer defined by her past struggles, but by the resilience it took to reclaim her name and her joy. She is currently focused on her music and her two sons, living a life that is finally free from the toxic shadows of her past. J.B. Smoove as Manny. Manny was the fast-talking, street-smart barber who turned every haircut into a comedic masterclass, played by the incomparable J.B. Smoove. Though he appeared in only 11 episodes, his role was vital in establishing the atmosphere of the local neighborhood hub where Chris sought refuge and advice. Born October 13, 1965 in Plymouth, North Carolina, J.B. Smoove's career is a testament to the power of the hustle. Before he was a household name, he spent years in the writers' rooms and on stand-up stages, honing an improvisational style that felt like lightning in a bottle. However, the road wasn't always smooth. He faced years of being the funny guy in the background, struggling to find a leading role that fit his unique, high-energy rhythm while supporting his family on a very modest income. As of 2026, at age 60, J.B. Smoove has seen his star ascend to incredible heights, largely thanks to his breakout role in Curb Your Enthusiasm, bringing his net worth to $5 million. But his 2026 isn't just about the money, it's about the creative freedom he finally possesses. He has turned his early struggles into a trademark, becoming one of the most sought-after voices and character actors in blockbusters like Spider-Man. In 2026, he remains a whirlwind of energy, currently balancing a busy touring schedule with new producing projects. He is reportedly at his happiest now, living a life of luxury with his wife, Shahida Omar, and enjoying the fact that Hollywood finally caught up to his unique brand of genius. After 21 years since Everybody Hates Chris first aired, the cast has gone through journeys far more complex than the stories we saw on screen. Some found lasting success, others faced struggles that changed their lives forever, and a few are no longer with us. So looking at where they are in 2026, which transformation surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this then and now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories you won't expect.